Okay, so thanks for coming to our call tonight. It's May 26th, and if you're watching the recording, I let our peeps that are live right now know that you do need a pen and paper for this call, not till the very end, but it's really important. It's part of an exercise we're going to do. So have a pen and paper ready. A couple of last minute announcements. There's only, 5 days left in the month to Rack Up Success Club. I want to congratulate Erica because she's at Success Club 3, which is amazing. And she's already signed her first coach, which is really exciting. So I'm really proud of her. And let's see what else. Oh, yes. So for the month of May for Kyle and my downline, there's still that opportunity to earn a special prize from us if you hit Success Club or rank advance in your business. So there's that. And then, okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So the reason why I'm doing this particular subject today is that I was talking with Beth and Kyle about the team calls that we've been doing, and honestly, I think a lot of people know what to do in this business. You know, it's about personal development and talking to people and sharing your story and, you know, sharing about Shakeology and things like that. But a lot of people still struggle, and a lot of it is all psychological. So that's why I really wanted to do a call today just about like how to prepare yourself to talk to people, how to present yourself, how to overcome your fear of like talking to people and kind of learn a little bit more about how you operate as a person in your head. And that was really helpful to me. And it's helped me a lot in the business and in my relationships and like literally every sector of my life. So I just really wanted to share kind of my transformation with you psychologically, which sounds like I'm crazy, but you'll get me in a few minutes. And watch how you can do it for yourself. Like seriously, the moment the light bulb went off in my head, I was like, why did I not do this like 5 years ago? Seriously. So something I really want to share with you is that 80% of everything you do in your life is psychological, and 20% is the mechanics. So when it comes to losing weight, most people know you need to eat less, eat more vegetables, less of the sugar and processed crap, right? Most people know what they're supposed to do. You should exercise X amount of time, whatever. So why don't we do it? And that's a really big thing that I've been introducing into my challenge groups the past couple of months is that you know what to do. It's a matter of preparing yourself to do it and being in the right mindset to do it. And if you're not in the right mindset and you know, or feel like a failure when you screw up or things like that, and you have these limiting beliefs about yourself, then you're never going to be able to succeed at it. What the heck? Okay. So the reason why we don't do it, even though we know what to do, is that we associate certain meanings with emotions. So we kind of interlink things together. So, you know, you associate losing weight with deprivation. Like, I'm going to start a diet this week. I'm not going to be able to have any chocolate cake and it's going to suck balls. And I'm going to have to suffer because I'm not going to get to have what I want. Instead of being like, I'm fueling my body, I'm going to feel awesome. Like, it's all a matter of what emotions you associate with different things. So emotions are driven by three forces. And the first thing it's driven by is physiology. So how you carry yourself. And this is something that Kyle and I learned at Tony Robbins, and both of us, I think our whole lives have been mega slouchers like this and just sit with like our shoulders slumped over and like, yeah, okay. And we're both super mellow and super just like kind of laid back. And so we're not super hyperactive and like, woo, all the time. We're really mellow and kind of laid back. So that's something we learned with all of your emotion. The first thing is you need to get control of how you are physiologically holding yourself. Like, there's a big difference of how you feel when you're sitting like this. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, my tummy, like I feel like there's pressure. Then when you sit like this and you're like, oh, I almost feel like there's an entire new energy around me. So your physiology is the first force that goes towards your emotion. The second is focus. So what are you focusing on throughout the day? Are you focusing on, for example, one thing Kyle and I have been working on a lot lately is one thing we realized we were focusing on was our lack of money. So we'd look at our bank account and be like, there's like no money. How are we going to pay whatever, like this bill that's due or whatever? But the fact that we were focusing on the lack of money in our account or the lack of money that we're going to be making this week, that was what we were focusing on and attracting into our life. So whatever you focus on is going to come to fruition, whether it's there or not. So, the lack of money thing, or like, oh, I'll never be able to lose weight. Like if you're focusing on the fact that you feel fat, you feel like you've always been fat, you're not going to get skinny anytime soon, because where's your focus at? It's at being overweight. And something I found really interesting at Tony Robbins was 80% of the thoughts that you have today, you also had yesterday. And that was a really big thing for me, where I was like, holy crap, yes, that's totally true. Like when I step on the scale and I'm like, oh crap, I'm fat again, like whatever. Those are the same thoughts I had yesterday, the same thoughts about, oh, the house is a mess, I should really clean it, like the same thought patterns. And so once you start introducing a thought pattern, like for me, one of the things I stress about a lot is the house being a mess, and it really gives me anxiety. So I would focus on that every day, and it would just like stress me out more and more, instead of just getting off my ass and cleaning the house. But my focus was on, it's so messy, it's so messy, it's so cluttered, ugh. And I was having that thought every single day, and so it was repeating itself. So one thing you can do for your focus, I talked a little bit about this a couple of weeks ago on a team call, but working on visualization. So visualizing where you want to be in a month, in 6 months, in a year. And this is something that, like, once again at Tony Robbins, that we talked a lot about, but imagining where you want to be in 1 year. So that was something for me where it was like, okay, I don't want to be in this apartment next year. Like, this is a pretty small apartment, and I want to be able to have kids in the next year, and I have all these goals that I want to meet. I can't have babies in this tiny ass apartment. Like, I don't even know where I would put it. So it kind of puts it into perspective, like imagining myself with a really cute house and having my own little office and having a specific workout space and visualizing specifically what this house is going to look like. So that's something you can keep your focus on. Once again, we're still on number 2, keeping your focus on where you want to be and where you're going to be. And instead of like, well, I kind of hope it happens, being like, this is a non-negotiable and I'm going to make it happen. So like with the business, if you want, something to relate it to, a Success Club. For me, when I got home, I was like, okay, I want to sign a bunch of coaches, but I don't know where to start. And it was like, I'm going to sign 3 coaches within the first month. It's a non-negotiable for me. And literally, I signed 3 coaches. And it sounds silly. It sounds like magic. And I swear it's not. Once you change your thought patterns and change your vocabulary, which is something we're going to get to, you can literally attract anything you want into your life, okay? And no, I'm not a millionaire yet or anything like that, but I'm on the way there, and that's awesome. So the third force that's driven by emotion is language. So transforming your vocab, instead of being like, well, I wish this would happen, or I hope I hit Success Club this month, change it to, I'm hitting Success Club and this is how I'm going to freaking get there. And if you guys would like to, last fall I did a team call about goal mapping and basically how to set a goal and effectively set up a plan on how to get there. I'd be happy to do another call because I know we have a lot of new coaches on the team. That was something that really helped a lot of the girls on the team last fall. And just to kind of have it like organized. If you're a type A type personality like me, I like to have a list and have it laid out, and that helped a lot. Okay, so the only thing keeping you from achieving your biggest dreams is the bullshit story you keep telling yourself. So this is something I kind of had to confront in my own journey of overcoming fears and things like that. So I used to tell myself these stories that like, oh, I'll never be able to get thin. Well, go figure. I just kept gaining weight because I didn't believe that I could actually start seeing success in my body and how I wanted it to be. So one quote that I've literally, I just want to plaster everywhere. It's from Jim Rohn. He's a personal development guy. Actually, his event was the first one that Tony Robbins ever went to before he was like the Tony Robbins. But it's how comes second and why comes first. So as long as you keep your focus on why you're doing this and why you want to achieve it, the how is going to come to you eventually. It's a matter of keeping your eye on the prize, so to speak, and keep your goals and where you want to be in front of you, and the how is going to fall into place. So another thing along those same lines is that the direction determines your destination. So as long as you're going in the right direction and you're focusing on, the right things to get towards your goal, and you're changing your language and you're making these steps, you're going to get there eventually. You may not be 10-star diamond in your first year or whatever the hell you want to be, but your direction is going to get you there eventually. So as long as you're taking the steps to change your mindset and to, change your focus and things like that, you're going to eventually get there. Okay, so this is the juicy part. I hope you guys are so excited. It's not juicy, it's just kind of intense, so bear with me. Kyle's laughing at me. Okay, so let's take a look at your beliefs. This was something for me that was really hard to do. And on the surface, I could easily be like, yeah, I mean, I had a bullshit belief that I could never get there. And I had a bullshit belief that I'll never be successful. And those are kind of like surfacey beliefs. But let's talk about beliefs and kind of where we get them from. So global beliefs are generalization type beliefs or a judgment. So a global belief is something like life is unfair, or I am fat, or people will hurt me. Those are like generalization type beliefs that you've gathered from the environments and experiences around you. So we'll kind of go over that in a second. But the second type of belief is a rule. So shit's going to get real intense, and I haven't shared this with anybody but Kyle, so this is going to be kind of difficult. One of my rule beliefs that I used to have was that if I invest my heart and my time and my soul into someone, then I won't get what I need in return from them. So I won't get the emotional connection that I need, and they'll hurt me or dump me or whatever. So this is something, when I went to Tony Robbins, it was really hard for me. Like I said before, I had the surfacey beliefs that I knew I had, and I was easy confronting those. But this one was really hard for me because I didn't really realize that I had this belief until I really dug deep at this seminar, and it was really hard for me to come to terms with. So all the relationships I've had in my life of my family, so like when a little kid's really small and they're growing up and they're learning about how a family operates, and like the first types of relationships that they see are with their parents and their siblings and things like that. And I had really shitty ass, sorry for my language, but really shitty ass fucking relationships with my family. So my dad was an alcoholic and drug addict, and he died when I was 7 from a drug overdose. So that's like a relationship that I didn't have like from the time I was a little kid. So, and it's a male relationship, so keep that in mind. And then my brother started doing drugs when we were really little. He was like 13, well, more like 11. He was in his first rehab when he was 13, and he was incarcerated for 6 years for drug and alcohol issues, and several DUIs. And so that's another relationship that was really shitty and just like always really rocky, up and down all the time. So it's another male relationship, keep in mind, that was really rocky. And then my mother was an alcoholic in the closet most of my life, and just this last summer was hospitalized and like literally on her deathbed. So all of these relationships around me that were with the people I wanted to be closest with were crumbling because of substance abuse. And that's something where all these people that I wanted to be close with were like crumbling the relationship. So this belief that I ingrained in my brain was that if I get close with someone, or if I want to invest my time and energy and heart into someone, then they'll fail on their end and I'll end up hurt and they won't care, basically. So this is the belief that I had built up in my head. Like, it's not true, but for me, it was like I was a common denominator in all these relationships, right? And that was just the thing that I built up in my head. And it's a bullshit story, and now I know it is. but it's something that we create these beliefs in our head and we don't even realize it. And so it's something that affected, obviously, my relationship with the closest male in my life, my husband. And so the first time I went to Tony Robbins, we had to look at our beliefs and write down how this had negatively affected, everything around us. So we wrote down our belief, and then we had to write, how has this affected our life? And I thought, well, shit, like, it's affected my marriage because I don't open up to Kyle enough. And that's like the one thing I'll share with you guys because you're a team. But that's one thing that we've both like struggled with our whole relationship. Not like bad, but like the one thing we ever do like fight about or whatever, it's always has to do with me opening up and like trusting the relationship and trusting the process and trusting him and like being open and talking about my feelings and things like that. And so I used to just close myself off all the time. So, and I started thinking about it when I was at this Tony Robbins event, and I was like, holy crap, like, not ruining, but I'm really putting a hardship on this relationship because I'm not being open because of all this bullshit belief that I built up in my head. So all these beliefs carry consequences, whether they're positive or negative beliefs. So some of my other ones were, like I said, like, I'll never be thin, or, what was the other one? I won't be successful or financially free, and things like that. And so those have created consequences too. The whole I'll never be thin. Well, of course I'm not going to get thin believing that. Like, of course I'm not going to lean out or anything, like believing that I'm gigantic and I'll never be able to get skinny. And with being successful, no wonder Beachbody wasn't taking off. I'd be like, well, I hope I hit Success Club. Well, I hope I go full time next year. Well, I hope this. Well, hoping isn't going to get you anywhere. Hard work and pushing yourself and changing your mindset and going all fucking in is going to change your situation. But just hoping and wishing and things like that are not going to get you there. So that's something I just really want to have a heart to heart with you guys tonight. I really want us to take a few minutes to write down the limiting beliefs that we may have had over our whole lifetime. So I'd love if you could write 2 or 3 limiting beliefs that you've had over your lifetime. It could be, either a global belief or a rule. So remember, the global belief is life is blank, or I am blank, or people will hurt me, or, a generalization. And the other type of belief is a rule. So if blank, then blank. So mine was, if I invest myself in someone, then I'll get hurt, basically. So I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes to write down a couple of beliefs, and then also with them write down what kind of consequences they've had on your life. So, if I don't, one of my old beliefs was that I won't be successful. I wouldn't invest myself fully in Beachbody, and I wouldn't invest myself fully in relationships and my jobs and things like that. So take a few minutes to do what your limiting belief is and then how it's negatively impacted your life. And then we'll have a second step after that. But ways that they could have impacted your life is your relationships, your jobs, your business, your marriage, your kids' lives, your living situation, things like that. Something that I had a hard time facing too was looking at the people that I've hurt in the process. So like I said, with the one about being worried that other people will hurt me, like obviously I was not holding off, but guarding myself with my own husband, and like not investing fully into friendships and opening up to my friends and things like that. So I'll give you a few minutes real quick. Okay, so I'll give you another minute um, and then we'll go on to the next step.
The silence needs some music.
I couldn't hear you. I think my volume's turned down.
I said the silence needs some music.
Honey, this moment's intense right now. Not dance party time. We'll have a dance party at the end.
I got intense music.
No. Okay, so as people are finishing up, I'll talk about the next step. So we've identified our bullshit beliefs, right? So, um, one thing that really resonated with me at this last seminar I went to while going through this process, this is like literally a 3-hour process at Tony Robbins. So this is just like a condensed down version. And at Tony Robbins, it's literally like you do visualization and you think about basically all of the negative aspects of these beliefs and where they would end you up in 5-10 years if you continued believing these. And people are literally like sobbing. And I tried to explain this to Kyle before we went because I wanted to warn him, and I was like, it's pretty intense, like just go with the flow. But people are like just releasing all of these like inner demons that they've had forever, and these like big guys with business suits are just like sobbing, like sitting in their chair. It's really intense. So obviously I always recommend Tony Robbins, but that's a little bit more intense than this is. This is kind of just like a miniature version. So anyways, the next step in the process is divorcing your bullshit story and marrying the truth. Oh shit. We'll end in 10 minutes. Okay, well, let's hurry this shit up. Okay, so divorce the story and marry the truth. You guys are laughing at me, sorry. So I love that saying because it's like divorcing, forgetting, not worrying about this bullshit story that you've been telling yourself and just releasing it and marrying the truth, which is you're freaking awesome and you deserve success, you deserve happiness, you deserve love, you deserve all these things that you want in your life. So now we get to write new empowering beliefs, and I'm really excited. So this is my favorite part of the process because literally when I was writing these down, my limiting beliefs, my shoulders, like we talked about before, like my physiology was just like, I know these are bullshit stories and I know I probably shouldn't believe them. But then once I was writing my new ones, I was like, holy crap, yes, let's freaking do this. So I'll go ahead and share my empowering beliefs. Basically, you reverse whatever it is you've been believing. So my one was, about other people will hurt me, basically. So my new empowering belief was I welcome healthy and loving relationships into my life. It's kind of like an affirmation, I guess. And basically, all the relationships around me are positive and happy and healthy, and I'm worthy of those relationships, etc. My other ones were, I can be healthy, I can be thin, I will be successful, like I'll be an awesome freaking coach and rock my business and be a 6-figure income earner. So basically replace that bullshit belief. You're going to cross it out on your page and write your new empowering belief. So take a couple minutes to do that. And then if I have a brave soul who wants to share, maybe one of you guys can share and see what your new empowering belief is. Oh my gosh, Beth. So I just saw you posted our dance party on Facebook. That's kind of funny.
Don't worry, it's mostly Kyle, because I thought I had you, but really it's too hard.
This is the meditation music that they play at Tony Robbins while you're writing your new empowering beliefs. So here you go. Of course, Kyle has to play it. He's a little DJ for team calls.
Namastasye, 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 namo.
Honey, that's really loud.
You might want to just continue because we're running out of time. You only have 6 minutes left.
Oh, shit. Okay. I hate that there's a timer on there. Okay. So does anybody, you don't have to, but does anybody want to share their new empowering beliefs, like their old one and then their new one, and kind of how they are excited for it to be a new empowering belief? Anybody? Bueller?
Beth will do it.
I know.
Beth?
Yeah, I'll go. It's kind of funny because I literally just did have an aha moment.
Yay.
Talking about rule beliefs. I don't think I've ever looked at it this way, and so that's always kind of an aha moment, and I'm probably going to use a lot of your time, so I'm sorry, but
You're fine.
So like weight is huge. Weight is huge to any person, especially in this day and age. It's so important to be thin or skinny, but it's a big confidence thing. So I've never been fat. I mean, I've been overweight. I'm not perfect, but I've always had kind of an average body. But I've always felt fat. And just now I was thinking, well, as a kid, I was not fat. But the problem is I was about a foot taller than everybody. When I'm 5'8" now, and I've been 5'8" since I was 11. So I was really big compared to all the little kids and other 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds. It was like this in difference. And I always would hunker over to try and be closer to them because I would try to shrink to them. And I always felt big. And the key word is big. I've always felt big next to them because their bodies were so much smaller. And mine was just growing. And theirs was just this, it was a tiny child body. And I had the body of a woman, but I was a 4th grader. So I've always felt big, and I always stood out, and it was kind of more in a negative way because it was like, oh, who's that big person? Why are they hanging out with the kids? And so I think right now, as I was thinking, like, I've never been fat, but I've always felt big. And I think now that, like, transgresses into, like, being an adult, I still feel like I'm big. And so now it's translating into I feel heavy, I feel fat. So now it's like I can't make progress in my goals because I'm big. And so now I'm like, hey, I need, like, that's kind of just like, okay, now that makes sense why I always think that. And because it's come from since I was a kid, especially in those growing up years. So one of the affirmations that I have, like, everywhere in my house is my new one, my truth that I'm marrying is not necessarily taking big out of it, but trying to feel the way I want to feel. And so I have written down, I feel so sexy and confident in my healthy, lean body, because that's how I want to feel. I want to be healthy and I want to be lean. I don't need to be small because I'm also not a small person. So I know I'll never be small, nor do I want to. But I want to be thinner, and I want to look the way I want to. So this way I feel confident and this is what I want. So I'm putting the more emotional back behind it. and putting that like present tense, like I feel now. This is how I want to feel. So that's what I got. Right now you got 2.5.
Thanks for sharing, pal.
You're welcome.
Does anybody else want to go? We only have like 2.5 minutes.
I'll post mine on the thread in the group just so we don't use time. But can I add something to your call?
Sure.
Well, first, I think everybody should try doing that sitting up straight just so you can see how it makes a difference. And Tony Robbins talks about it's 2 centimeters from your sternum. If you put your fingers on your sternum right here and lift it 2 centimeters, how much you're opening up to like the world and letting the world in, and how much like stronger and powerful you feel compared to slouching over. So I think that's important to try. And then I also wanted to share a picture that I think kind of escalates. Emily mentioned earlier, like the journey we're on. And so this kind of portrays that, like, there's so much that people see, and that's the iceberg, but there's so much that's actually happening behind the scenes, and that's your story and your struggle that you have to dismiss and find your new journey. So I just want to share that, and I'll post that in the group as well. So that's
Thanks, pal. Alrighty, I think we have like less than a minute, so I think it's going to cut off. But if you want to share your beliefs in the thread, feel free to. I'll post the recording too. But thanks for jumping on, pals.
Thanks,
Have
Emily.
a good night. Yeah.
Bye. Take
Bye.
a picture. Hurry.
Bye.
Oh, I don't
Did you
know.
take a picture?
No, I hit the wrong button.
I don't know how to do it. Hurry.
I got it. All right, we're good.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.